Have we heard anything from the lawyers? No. What do we know about cannabis users when it comes to driving?
14.8 million people have reported driving within an hour of using cannabis.
And 74% think it is unlikely they'll get caught driving within an hour of using cannabis.
Very good. Here is a common misconception about cannabis and driving.
I actually drive better when I'm high.
No, you don't drive better. Because THC affects your thinking, it also affects your driving. It slows reaction time, decreases coordination, and impairs judgment. Bottom line, if you feel different, you drive different. And even if you feel fine while under the influence of cannabis, you may not be able to accurately judge if you're safe to drive. The University of California conducted a study on this subject. Let's look at the results.
Regular cannabis users completed driving simulations after smoking. What were the results? These two roads show cannabis users' self-perception of their driving abilities versus their actual driving performance over a 4.5-hour period. Up to 30 minutes after they smoked, they were aware that their driving ability was impacted. Their self-perception matched their actual performance. In fact, many said they would not drive in their current state. However, at 90 minutes, drivers felt that the impairment was wearing off. This made them more likely to drive, even though their actual performance was no different than how they performed at 30 minutes. 4.5 hours later, the simulation showed that the impairment had worn off, and their driving ability now matched their self-perception.
That's not fair. What am I going to tell Bert? What do you want me to tell him? We've got nothing? We've got nothing left? We don't have Welcome back. Now let's explore some things law enforcement looks for to identify impaired driving.
Law enforcement's looking for a lot of different things, such as intention problems, people staying stopped at green lights, people proceeding through yellow lights at an unsafe speed. Maintaining lane positions is a big one. Tailgating, unsafe lane changes, driving up on the curb. We're seeing people who drive too fast, maybe even drive too slow. If you're slow to respond when we pull you over and have a hard time getting out of the car, we're going to check to see if you're impaired.
Welcome back to You Risk Your Life, the show that highlights cannabis-related traffic crashes making headlines. The most common driving violation among those arrested for DUI cannabis is poor speed control, either driving too fast or too slow. The second most common violation is lane weaving. Here's a video of a crash that occurred in Southern California.
Andrew Diaz shared this now viral dash cam video on his Facebook page.
Okay.
It shows a Chevy Silverado sailing down the freeway like a missile, slamming into a Nissan Sentra, causing a chain reaction crash. When the dust settles, the damage is astounding. This is the lower half of that Nissan Sentra, and the top half. 44-year-old Janet Janau lost her life in it. CHP says that man, 25-year-old Javier Caldera, was driving under the influence of marijuana, likely going over 100 miles per hour. No one had time to react.
In this crash, you can see the horrific damage to the Nissan caused by an impaired driver in a speeding Chevrolet truck. In a crash between a large and small vehicle, the smaller one is at greater risk of injury and fatality due to its size and weight. This truck, traveling at high speed, essentially crushed the smaller vehicle, cutting it in half. The driver pled guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 23 years to life in state prison. The next video shows a crash that happened in Northern California.
The CHP says they have evidence that the 21-year-old driver who caused a 5-car pileup in Fremont was stoned. 3 people were killed, including 14-year-old Chrissy Lemus and her 9-year-old sister, Brooke.
At 9 o'clock last night, the CHP got calls about 21-year-old Dang Nguyen Hai Tran driving recklessly and speeding on the freeway. A short time later, the CHP says Tran, high in marijuana, struck the white Escalade, somehow causing it to roll. Yes, this 21-year-old man from San Jose was calm and cooperative. The officers say that he caused this crash that killed 3 people and injured 5, and then he basically walked away from it without a scratch. They say that as he was standing there amidst all this debris, the broken glass and twisted metal and the body bags, he asked the officers, "Is everybody okay?"
The driver of this Toyota was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence of cannabis. Here's another misconception.
I can smoke and drink a little. It'd be fine to drive.